Till the savings Wrangler rode in. Cool as can be. Tap Good RX. Saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. Deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little app does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check Good RX. Good RX is not insured.
This is the Verizon Extra Innings Show. Verizon, the most reliable 5G in St. Louis.
Next pitch to him is hit into center field, and Victor Scott can't get it. Gets it on a hop. The throw into the plate is not in time, and the Brewers walk it off. A hit by Monasterio, a 2-run bottom of the 10th inning, and Milwaukee comes back to steal this one. They're celebrating on the field a 9-8 victory here at American Family Field.
Oh, that is how it ended tonight. After a promising start by the Redbirds, a very good start by Sonny Gray tonight. It doesn't go the way of the Cards. The Brewers win at 9-8 in 10 innings. Welcome to the Extra Innings Show after the extra innings in Milwaukee tonight. I'm Joe Pott, and the Extra Innings Show is presented by Gray Bar. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. A tough one tonight for the Redbirds, no doubt about it. If you want to commiserate, share your thoughts, what have you, 314-436-7900. Easier still, jump on the socials, find us there, YouTube, X, Facebook, and you can drop a comment right there on our stream, and we can talk about that. Oliver Marmol kind of summed it up. He was more frustrated with some of the play that went on in that game as opposed to the way that the bullpen kind of broke down. And that is because of, the folks that broke down. JoJo Romero, Riley O'Brien, Kyle Leahy. They've been really good, and they've been really good for a long period of time. Everybody is not going to be good every night, but it's rough when nobody's good on the same night, and that's kind of what Marmol said, because all three of them had rough nights. After Swanson had a good night, after Gray had a really good start for you, 5 innings, 2 runs, 8 strikeouts for Sonny Gray. It felt like things were going in the right direction, and you had the opportunity, certainly had the opportunity with those bullpen guys, but they just didn't perform tonight, and that's the long and short of it, and that is really all that it is, and how you kind of sum it up. But in that game, there were other things that went wrong. There were some defensive plays that weren't made. There was the bunt that they didn't get down at one point. So there were things like that went bad, and that was what made that kind of got Marmol a little more irritated than the end of the game did. So you can understand that at this point, because, again, what are you going to do about the fact that your guys just didn't have it on a particular night, and they didn't have it at the same time? Don joins us here on KMOX. Don, welcome to the Extra Innings Show.
It's always good talking to you, Joe. I watched this game tonight. It was really frustrating for us watching this game tonight. They had no business losing this game. And the bottom line is Gorman's got to go. Walker's got to go. If I was Chaim Bloom, he's got his work cut out for him in all season. Those two got to go along with Palante. I don't think none of them. And I think they have to make a managerial change, too, because this team just doesn't play up to the par when it comes to winning baseball, Joe. And like I said, I watch this team night in and night out, and it's frustrating from a Cardinals fan's point of view. I mean, how do you lose a game like tonight? They took a win away from Sonny Gray. I thought he pitched a great game tonight, and there's no way they should have lost this game, Joe. And I can't wait to see Arenado back playing at third base before this year's out. Yeah. And I'll hang on the line and hear your comments.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your comments. And I'm not going to be phony, because I said this at the trade deadline, that at the trade deadline, I didn't think there was anybody on the Major League roster that I would have deemed untouchable, that if there was a deal out there to be made, they should have made those deals. I said it then. I believe it now. And the other thing I've said is, if you're entrusting Chaim Bloom to make the changes that you want made to get this organization, this franchise, back to where you expect it should be, where the fans expect it to be, then he has to have carte blanche to do what he wants as far as make those moves. If that includes a managerial change, then I would be supportive of that. I don't think that Oliver Marmol has done a bad job, but I also don't think that Chaim Bloom should have to have a manager that he did not pick if he does not think that Oliver Marmol is the guy for the job. I would completely understand that. That would make perfect sense to me. And as you said, Don, I think there's a lot of moves that can be made. I'm actually quite excited to see what happens and what kind of things, what kind of moves Chaim Bloom wants to make. So I'm kind of with you right there.
Like I said, Joe, it's frustrating watching this team, and like I said, I don't enjoy watching this team lose every night. You know what I mean? I don't know how many games they're going to win from this point on out. And like I said, they find ways to lose, Joe, and it's hard for a Cardinal fan to watch his team playing game in and game out. And like I said, I enjoy your show. I always enjoy talking to you, and you have a good evening, Joe.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you giving us a call. Sam gets in on the comments, says Ollie should have taken O'Brien out after the Sal Frelick double. He just didn't have it tonight. I mean, he took him out one batter later. Yes, I get it. Jackson Churio drove in another run there, but it wasn't as if he really stuck with him too terribly long there. And that was just part of what happened because it continued. And then obviously you get a couple of hits in the 10th inning. It really hurt, I think, to start that 8th inning. Obviously, Romero starts that 8th inning with back-to-back walks. I'm sorry, 3 back-to-back walks. That's what kills you, is you have a nice lead going into that 8th inning, and you could just feel things unraveling right there. Carlos says the Cardinals lost in extra inning games this week. Being a diehard Cardinals fan, he's getting ready for 2026. I understand that. I certainly feel that, Carlos. I think a lot of folks are. And like I just said when we were talking to Don, I'm excited to see what Chaim Bloom does. And we've already seen a little influence there with the type of players that he drafted, with the fact that Liam Doyle is quickly ascending, and he's ascending for the reason of let's get him into high leverage situations, meaning, end of season playoff baseball with Springfield. And that's what he's going to get, Liam Doyle. And that is particularly to prepare him to get to the big leagues faster, to have those innings, to have those experiences, ultimately gets him to the big leagues faster and has him prepared for big league baseball when he gets here. Larry is on the line. He's joining us on KMOX. Larry, welcome to the Extra Innings Show.
First time I ever talked to you, Joe. Good evening.
I appreciate it, Larry. Thanks.
So is there any repercussions for these outfielders, namely our center fielder, that keeps throwing to the wrong base? Are you kidding me? This is Major League Baseball. It's pathetic to watch this.
Yeah, Victor
What's
Scott,
your comment on that?
No, he did it a few games ago, and then sat for a few games. So I would imagine that had something to do with it. And it's exactly those kind of plays that the manager was more upset about tonight, that Oliver Marmol was more upset about tonight than the fact that guys had some bad nights in the bullpen, because those are the type of things, Larry, you said it, that are unacceptable, right? Those are errors of commission, not errors of omission, errors of commission. That's when you make a mistake. And even John Rooney mentioned it on the game tonight. It's one thing to make a mistake. It's a whole nother thing to make the same mistake multiple times, to make it over and over, which means you aren't learning, you aren't progressing. And I think that's what's so frustrating. And I would assume that's, what's frustrating you as well, Larry.
At the halfway point, and the halfway point is 81 games, that the All-Star break's not a good barometer of the halfway point, like they always try to indicate. We were 44-37 after 81 games. In the second half, we're 28-40. We're 12 games under. That is terrible.
It's rough. You're right. I recall, I sat here in this seat on June 29th when they were 9 games over 500. They were getting ready to go into Pittsburgh. That's the series that Pittsburgh ended up sweeping and ultimately shutting out the Cardinals in that entire series. And it's been downhill from there.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
I appreciate it. Thanks for giving us a call. Some more comments here on our stream. Ash says, looking good to me. I appreciate that. I don't know about that, but hey, I'll take the compliment late on a Saturday night. Sam is back with us saying doesn't think that the Brewers have a superstar in their lineup, but they just come up with the big hit time and time again. I think Jackson Churio certainly has the ability to be a superstar. You have a former MVP and a superstar in Christian Yelich. William Contreras is very good, but again, I understand the point, and they do come up with the hits time and time again. And in this case, those hits came in the 6th inning or later. So define clutch, right? Those clutch stats come up later in a game in big situations. That is what they've got. And Carlos says he doesn't see the Brewers the best team in the National League. I realize this has been the last couple of years that I look at the Brewers, and again, it goes right to what Sam was saying as well. There's not a superstar. There's not a real player there that, you're not looking at a Ohtani or Trout or even a Betts, like someone like that. And you look at the Brewers and you're like, all right, this probably won't last, right? They're going to have a couple of good stretches, and then it's not going to last. And they've done this the last couple of years. They're going to be in the playoffs for the 7th time in 8 seasons. And they've got the best record in baseball right now. They've got 91 wins, and they're the only team that has clinched a playoff spot in Major League Baseball. They're the only team that has gotten to 90 wins in Major League Baseball. Would you have thought that going into the year? Would you have said that the Brewers were going to be 7 games better than the Los Angeles Dodgers at this point? Because that's where we are right now. They're 8 games better than the Dodgers at this point right now. Would you have thought that? Because I wouldn't have thought that. And even as they got into the season and they were in first place, they overtook the Cubs, I still wouldn't have said that. But they just continued to win, and they just continued to stretch out the lead. And it is exactly for what Sam says. It's so much of that big hit at the right time or a couple of hits in a row at the right time, just continuing to fight, be relentless. And that's what they've done all year long. And that's obviously what they did tonight to the Redbirds. We need to take a break. We'll come back with more as the Extra Innings Show continues after the extra inning loss by the Cards tonight, 9-8 to the Brewers. I'm Joe Pott. We're coming back on KMOX.
Hey, facility managers. At Graybar, we're not just one of the largest distributors of electrical and datacom parts in North America. We're your connection to help make your buildings smarter. We work with best-in-class manufacturers to supply products for wireless, security, renewable energy, lighting, and critical power solutions. And we have a network of integrators nationwide that can help make it work all together. So, the next time you're thinking about making your building smarter, think Graybar, and we'll help you get connected. Visit graybar.com/connected buildings to learn more.
When you own a business, you know there's no shortage of bold moments. At VOS, we're here to help you meet those moments in stride. Whether it's reducing your exposure to check fraud, setting up direct deposit, or helping make credit card processing seamless, VOS is here for you, your employees, and your customers. Are you ready for a better banking experience? Then make the bold move and switch to VOS today. Visit bankwithvos.com. Member FDIC.
There's a big red barn where you say green. Norm's Bargain Barn. Discount windows, doors, and things. Norm's Bargain Barn.
Hi, I'm Norm Wilkie. Come see my new selection of Amish cabinetry made by my good Amish friends at Countrywood Products. We now stock 5 styles of cabinetry for you to choose from.
When you need to save on discount windows, doors, and cabinetry, come to Norm's Bargain Barn. With locations in Shiloh and Fenton at the bottom of Gravois Bluffs. Visit normsbargainbarn.com.
That's normsbargainbarn.com.
Hey, facility managers. At Graybar, we're not just one of the largest distributors of electrical and datacom parts in North America. We're your connection to help make your buildings smarter. We work with best-in-class manufacturers to supply products for wireless, security, renewable energy, lighting, and critical power solutions. And we have a network of integrators nationwide that can help make it work all together. So, the next time you're thinking about making your building smarter, think Graybar, and we'll help you get connected. Visit graybar.com/connected buildings to learn more.
Now, back to the Verizon Extra Innings Show.
Right-hander goes after Ivan Herrera, who swings, and it's a high fly ball. That's hit to deep left field. Back to the wall. It's a goner. A 101-mile-an-hour fastball turned around, and a home run to left for Herrera. 1-0 Cardinals.
Well, that was the good highlight from tonight. That was a good piece of audio that we have. Ivan Herrera getting things started for the Cards, second batter of the game. Brendan Donovan also homering tonight. So those two things were good to see. It's nice to see Brendan Donovan obviously back in the lineup. It's been nice all year to have the pop that you've gotten from Ivan Herrera, because he has been he's the one guy that you feel like really could be a bona fide offensive piece. I shouldn't say that, because I think Wilson Contreras is as well. When you look at the full body of work, he's obviously done that for the Redbirds. He's having as good of a power season as he's had in his career. Contreras, that is. The batting average is not great. But for Ivan Herrera, he still continues to have an OPS of near 900. It's not quite there right now. But in his time in there, and it's been limited this year because of injuries, but 94 games, and he's got 16 homers, 57 RBIs. So that is good to see. And I think that when you're talking about, and I was talking about nobody on this Major League roster untouchable, I still think that, by the way. Whatever you want to say about any of them, I think that if there's a deal to be had for them, if you like the deal, then take the deal. That's what I say. Even Ivan Herrera. But I do get it. I mean, I'm not going to be upset if that's someone you want to build your lineup around. I think, obviously, Mason Wynn as well, just a tremendous defensive performer. Obviously, hope the best for him as his season is over with the injury. But again, if you have a deal, if there's a deal out there and it makes your team better, then you know what? I'm taking that as well. So I certainly appreciate that. That's what I think anyway. Carlos again says, how long will it, I think he's asking how long it will take Mason Wynn to come back. So we ask, will he be ready for spring training in Jupiter? So I would expect fully, yes, Carlos. And the one caveat is, unless it is something that is more serious, but I think that they're pretty confident that it's just the meniscus tear. He said on the pregame show tonight, he's actually hurt that knee previously. And this was the second time that has happened to him, but he'll get that surgery, and I think he'll be back fully for spring training. What's on Deck is brought to you by Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best, chesterfieldfence.com. What's on Deck tomorrow is the final game of this series between the Cards and the Brewers. Pre-game show is at 12:15. I should say pre-game show is at, that's right, 12:15. 1:10 is the first pitch in Milwaukee for that final one. That'll do it for us here on the Extra Innings Show. Sam asked what it will take to get this team back to the playoffs. Sam, I don't have time to tell you all the things that it would take. Let's hope Heim Bloom has a more handle on that list than I do, but we'll find that out after the season. Big thanks to John Rooney, to Rick Horton, to Ryan Schulte, to Mike Claiborne, all the folks there in Milwaukee. Daniel Hintkamp, he doesn't have a little box on the screen like some of our producers do, but he's over there, I promise, on the other side of the board, keeping us in line and on time. One of those things. It's late, right? Extra inning game, Cards lose. Tough one tonight. Appreciate you staying up with us, talking to us, sending in your comments, and getting on the phone lines. I'll talk to you tomorrow on the pregame show. I'm Joe Pott. Keep it here on KMOX.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM.